startling discovery. Ancient secret reveals what you were coded to do at birth. How smart people over 35 are finally finding their true calling and getting paid to do it. Discover your true abilities using this secret ancient code and enjoy a second chance at life without leaving home. Best of all, the secret of your true calling is encoded in your DNA, and the key unlocking it is no further than your calendar. Orice and Liz, publishers Healthy Wealthy and Eyes Magazine. How to use an ancient calendar secret to find your true calling. Dear friend, did you know that the knowledge of who you truly are and which career you could actually get paid to shine like a star at in this lifetime is no further away than your own DNA, locked in at the exact time you were born? Did you know that this knowledge, which you've been carrying around with you in code form from birth, only needs to be plugged into a special calendar to reveal its secrets to you in pure form? Did you know that, for over 1,750 years people used the secret code inside this calendar for deciphering who they were and where their special talents lay, but that this secret code was lost when the Roman calendar was imposed on the New World, which is the same one we all use today? Decoding your true identity and starting your new life takes just 53 minutes. Listen, let's be honest here. Liz and I haven't always known our true natures either, or been working in roles that fit us perfectly, by a long shot. You may not believe this, but way back before we started using this system to make decisions about how to run our own company and where each of us should fit into the workflow day to day, things didn't always flow so well. In fact, sometimes they were downright disastrous. In the end, we realized everything was crashing and burning on us simply because Liv was being forced to do the type of thing she wasn't meant to do, according to the code of this ancient calendar. At that point I sat down with her, took her by the hands, looked her in the eye and said, "Liz, you don't have to do this anymore. Let's look back at the code from the calendar and what it says we should do." And that's when things started to change for us. I'm only telling you this because I want you to know we understand what it's like to be horribly unhappy in the job or role you're in, but feel like there's no escape. You don't feel like anything can change about your situation because A. Someone has to do everything you do, right? B. There's simply not enough time to change things. C. Where's the money going to come from? Here's the good news. You don't need a lot of money. It takes less than $20 in fact, and you don't need a lot of time to find out your true nature and start feeling the difference today. All you really need is your birth date, your birth time, and about 53 minutes to listen to a fascinating message all about you. The secret message that will change your life is 53 minutes long. After experiencing the huge difference it made in our own lives, Liz and I said, okay, we've held onto this secret far too long. We've got to make this code available to people like us, so they don't have to spend years tracking it down and deciphering it all like we did. So here's what we've done for you today. Here's just a few of the eye-opening revelations that you will discover inside the message. Whether your current job/career is the right one for you, or not. What type of work you were really meant to be doing here on Earth. Hint, it's also what makes you feel most alive. But it may surprise you. Who your perfect soulmate might be. Everyone's codes match up differently. What your children's codes are and why you need to know.
Thank you everyone for joining me here at Evolutionary Energy Arts. The number 40. Now the number 40 is all over the Bible. Jesus fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. After his resurrection, he appeared to the disciples for 40 days. There is so many things. Moses remains on Mount Sinai for 40 days and 40 nights. Moses is 40 years old when he flees into the Midian desert. Punishments are not to exceed 40 lashes. It rained for 40 days and 40 nights in Noah's flood. Prophet Ezekiel lies on his side for 40 days, symbolically bearing Judah's sins. King Solomon reigns for 40 years. King Saul reigns for 40 years. King David reigns for 40 years. God vows to make Egypt desolate for 40 years. The Israeli wanderer in the wilderness for 40 years. So 40, 40, 40. Now it's not just that. There's other numbers too, such as 12. 12 disciples, 12 tribes. And the 12 is just so easy to see what we're relating to numerologically. the 12 signs of the zodiac, the 12 months of the year. It's basically showing completion in a sense, a divine number. And when you look at numerology, 3 is a divine number, 4 is manifestation on the world plane, so 3 times 4 is 12, and that's a combination of the two thereof. 40 days and 40 nights. So what is this 40 pointing to then? You always numerologically break things down and add them together, so it comes down to a root number of 4, which again is kind of a number of manifestation in some ways. This is one take on the number 40, and it's saying that we're ready to build our higher consciousness, one that's developed on all levels of living. Again, all levels, both the spiritual and the physical. The number 40 destiny number, individuals know of 4 levels of consciousness, namely reason, order, measurement, and judgment. There's also the understanding that they must respond to 4 spiritual laws: mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual, and the laws of justice and right. The number 40 is always on patience and order, the ultimate number of a system, order, and management. It's neutral and it's extrovert, related to the planet Uranus and to the star sign Taurus. The tarot card representative of the 40 energy is the Emperor. So 40 is definitely an interesting number, and as we had said, the Bible is full of this numerology, full of it. Like, for instance, the number of the beast, 666. 6 is divine imperfection, or human imperfection. It's as imperfect as you could get, 6, where 7 is a perfect number. And coincidentally, there's 66 books in the Bible. It's not perfect, and it's intentionally not perfect. And we're being told that through the scriptures. So when we look at the number 40, we end up realizing that 40 is the number of a key Babylonian god, Sumerian god, Enki, Ea, King Anu's eldest and wisest son via a concubine. So his number in rank is 40. So he is, according to the Babylonian myths, he is really the creator of mankind. Now, not the ultimate creator, but the creator of this version of mankind. Creator of us, Homo sapiens sapiens. Now, his spouse was Ninka or Daminka or Damkina, and he is the son of Anu and Urash. Urash was a concubine, so he was kind of illegitimate, and that's part of why Enlil ends up being ranked higher. And Enlil's number is 50, and Anu's number is 60, and it goes by rank. And eventually Marduk, throughout that area, ends up being 50, usurping Enlil's power. And some sources say Marduk is the son of Enki. It gets very, very confusing, because depending on where and when, they will give different genealogies. Now, Enki is the wisest of the gods. He wrote his own biography, tales of his contributions to Earth. He was the master engineer, the keeper of the Mies, the discs of knowledge. He was the god over the waters, the ruler of the Absu. Builder of ships, he mined gold in South Africa and shipped it in bulk to Enlil. The first moon eclipse was Enki's symbol, later discarded as Nanar Sin or Allah, took on the moon crescent symbol, and Nanar Sin, Allah, is the god of Islam and has the crescent moon symbol. Now, he was a watery god, half fish, half man, and also known as Dagon, and some say that Dagon was his right-hand man or somebody that served him. But it's also thought that that was also possibly Enki himself. And some people, like this one, thinks it's Enki in a wetsuit. So his patron city was Eridu, first city built, place on the water. His temple, a residence, was there. Enki is he who home is water, is accredited with forming the rivers and draining the marshlands. And of course, Enlil was his rival brother, and was King Anu's heir. So there was always wars going on with Enki and Enlil. Maybe not outright wars, but there was always rivalry, big time rivalry. And Enki had 6 main sons: Marduk, Nergal, Ninagal, Gibil, Toth, and Dumuzi, and others. And it's very interesting when you start looking into these things. Think about the symbol for Jesus. What is the symbol for Jesus? It's the fish as well. And then we have Dagon, the fish god of Egypt, also known as Oans when we go into the Greek traditions. And Oans was a name given by the Babylonian writer Berosus in the 3rd century BC to a mythical being who taught mankind wisdom. Berosus describes Oans as having a body of a fish but underneath the figure of a man. He is described as dwelling in the Persian Gulf and rising out of the waters in the daytime and furnishing mankind instruction in the writing and the arts and various sciences. Oans and the Semitic god Dagon were considered identical, but not until long after those gods were formally worshipped. This belief was popularized by the medieval Jewish commentator Rashi and in Dante's Inferno, but has been discarded by modern scholars. The name Oans was once conjectured to be derived from that of the Babylonian god Ea, but it is now known that the name is the Greek form of the Babylonian Uana or Uan, a name used for Adapa in the text from the library of Ashurbanipal. The Assyrian texts attempt to connect the word to the Akkadian for craftsman, Umanu, but is merely a pun. So it's very interesting how these are all related. And then, of course, when you start thinking about teaching mankind and blessing mankind, you think of Prometheus. And I've seen many people who believe that Prometheus and Ea Enki are the same, and that some way, shape, or form, Jesus also comes from them, from him, whether it's a reincarnation, a son. There are so many thoughts to it, but there's definitely a connection there. The Prometheus, Titan god of Greek mythology, who was entrusted to mold mankind out of clay, son to Lapithos and Clymene, brother to Epimetheus, Atlas, and Miniotius. Very intelligent, the one looking forward, greatest friend for mankind. The symbol was creative fire, which was his precious gift to the dying people. And so, Prometheus gave us knowledge, and Enki gave us life, and Enki always fought for us, and, Enlil didn't seem to have any regard for humans. But the connection between 40 being so many times coming up in the Bible, and the fact that in the assembly of gods, Ea's number is, Ea Enki, his number is 40. Coincidence or more than a coincidence? I want to hear your thoughts on this. Please thumbs up, subscribe, and share if you haven't subscribed yet, and please do share. Let's get to the bottom of this together, and I look forward to what your thoughts are on all this. Thank you for joining the Evolutionary Energy Arts family, and I look forward to seeing you all soon. Take care.
number series that you see over and over again and you just don't know what it means? So I see numbers all the time. I see triple digits. Actually, I started seeing triple digit numbers 6 weeks before a very important individual came into my life, and I continue to see certain number series when that individual is around. I also see numbers that are warnings to me that something's not right, that there's going to be kind of a hiccup in my day. And so whenever I see those numbers, I'm always like, something's coming, and it always happens. 10 times out of 10 times, it happens. So I really do believe in the number series because I would be foolish not to, because I have a huge body of evidence that when I see a certain number series, it means something. You ever wake up in the middle of the night at the same time? Maybe you wake up to go to the bathroom at 1:23. No matter what time you go to bed, you wake up at 1:23. What the heck does that mean? I was at a seminar for Deepak Chopra 20 years ago, and he asked that question, and he said, how many of you wake up in the middle of the night at a certain time? And over half the audience raised their hand, 300 people. It was amazing. So I believe that it means that you're on the right path, that your angels are trying to talk to you, that you're downloading information, you're constantly getting information from all sorts of sources all over the place all the time. And life is a gigantic moving puzzle, right? So you're on your path, other people are on their path, and I'm always amazed when these synchronicities occur. You know, like maybe you're driving a red car, maybe you're driving a car that nobody else has on the road, and all of a sudden you go to a gas station and that exact other car is there. Or maybe you're thinking about a person you haven't seen in 20 years. This happened to me a couple of years ago, and I tried to connect with her on Facebook and we couldn't, and then I ran into her in a building a week later. What are the mathematical odds? That's impossible. And yet it happens. So sometimes these numbers are warnings, or they're like guide or mile markers to tell you that you're on the right track. To take it a step further, I do study numerology. I'll do another video on numerology in case you're wondering what the heck that is. But basically it has to do with every number has a vibrational frequency. Every letter in the alphabet has a vibrational frequency paired with that number. And each number means something. So 1111, that's beginnings, that's a teacher number. 2s have to do with partnerships, feminine energy. 3s have to do with communication, everything coming together. 4s have to do with foundation, home, structure. 5 has to do with play, but sudden changes in energy, abrupt sudden changes. 6 has to do with love and success. 7 has to do with a spiritual perspective shift. Also might have to do with life and death, but usually a perspective in the way, a shift in the way you're looking at things. 8's money, power, business. 9 has to do with everything coming to an end. It's a universal number, so it means that a phase might be ending. It may be the end of a relationship, an end of a situation. So all of the numbers have different meanings. In addition to that, some of them you might say, okay, what does it mean 2, 3, 4? Well, you could Google search what it means. There's going to be a ton of different stuff on there, all the way from biblical scripture to Proverbs to Doreen Virtue has her belief and her take on some of them. And so you'll read it, and what you'll do is what I call divin. And so you'll read the paragraph and you'll look at maybe what some of the meanings are and isolate the ones that feel right. You got to trust yourself. It's not an exact science. This is a lot of trusting yourself. And the truth is that whatever the numbers mean for you may mean something totally different for me. And so that's what it's about. It's about knowing what those cues are, what your angels and God are placing in front of you so that you can begin to divin and navigate throughout your life so that you